Hey everyone, it's Joy, and today I'm going to be talking about my February and my March wrap-up. So I'm combining my February and my March wrap-up because I didn't read a lot in February. I only read 3 books, but in March I've read a lot. I've read 9 books. I honestly thought it was 7, but nope, it's 9, so I'm like, what the heck. March was a good read month for me, and I hope April will be another good read month for me, but altogether I'm going to be talking about 12 books in this video. Like I said, I didn't read a lot in February, but I've read a lot in March. So let's get to my wrap-up. So the first book that I've read in February is This Time Next Year by Sophie Cousins. This is about 2 people whose birthday is on New Year's Day. One got the title on a baby New Year, and the other one didn't, and they were raised one of them was raised as they were enemies since they were babies, and then they met 30 years later, and the whole story goes from there. I really enjoyed this book. I honestly surprised on how much I love this book. I honestly love Minnie, and I love Quinn, and I just like to see different perspectives of both of these characters on like why like this happened and all that, and I'm happy that I really enjoyed this, and of course I know I've read is a New Year's book, but I think everybody should read it because if you haven't seen my 10 books you need to read video, which I'll link in the corner, I think many people should read this, especially like in the next winter, because this is a really amazing book to read, and I haven't seen many people talk about this on BookTube, but yeah, I think this is gonna be one of my favorite books of the year so far, and I give this book 5 stars. Next book that I've read in February is The Valiant by Leslie Livingston. This is about a girl whose sister that got killed, and then she takes her sister's place as a gladiator, and the whole story goes from there, and I really enjoy this book. I really like Fallon, and I also like all the other characters, and I really love the world that it sets in. I find it like there were parts of it books that I find a little slow, but I did pick up afterwards, and I really enjoy this book, and I definitely want to continue on with the series because it's a trilogy, I believe. I don't know yet. I think it's a trilogy, but yeah, and I give this book 4 out of 5 stars. And the last book that I've read in February is House of Sorrows by Aaron A. Craig. This is a 12 Dancing Princesses retelling that tells a story about the 12 sisters, obviously, but they're slowly getting killed, and that's all I want to tell you. I really enjoy this book, and I definitely really like the mystery aspects, the murder mystery aspects to it, which I didn't expect going into this, even though I kind of did, but I didn't see the twist coming, and I really enjoy it. I really like the character. I honestly didn't feel connected to the characters I'm trying to remember from when I wrote my review on Goodreads, but I still really enjoyed the story overall, and I really like the murder mystery aspects to it, as it is a 12 Dancing Princesses retelling, and I give this 4 out of 5 stars. So now to the books that I've read in March, and the first book that I read in March is, spoiler alert, by Olivia Day. This is about a man who is an actor in a show that is kind of like Game of Thrones kind of show, and he writes fan fiction, and then he meets another fan fiction a fan of the show who cosplays the characters from the show that he stars in, and I really like this book. I think it's really cute. I really like the characters. One thing I did not like is how I'm trying to remember the main character's name, but she was treated badly by a parent who's showing that fat phobia, and that if you I'm a trigger warning for that, but I still really like the story overall. I think I mostly just did not like the steamy love scenes, but I honestly think the characters are really cute together, but that's all I can say about it. But again, I still really enjoyed the story, and I can't wait to read the companion novel. I believe it's a companion novel to this book, and I give this book 4 out of 5 stars. The next book that I've read in March is Among the Beasts and Briars by Ashley Poston. This is about a girl who's lost many people in her life, her mother and her friends in this enchanted woods, but then she ends up going back into the woods to save, to team up with a fox and and save the kingdom, basically. And I really enjoy this. I really like it how it's like kind of like Ashley Poston's version of a fairy tale, like that she wanted to tell. I did find some parts of the book a little slow, but I still enjoy this overall, and Ashley Poston is becoming one of my favorite authors, and I do want to read more from her. I still haven't read Bookish and the Beast, which I honestly been anticipating last year, and I still haven't gotten to it yet, which is a companion novel to Once Upon a Comic Books. But I still really like this book overall. I really like the characters, and I really like the world, and I give this book 4 out of 5 stars. The next book that I've read in March is Peter Pan by Jan Berry. Of course, I'm going to reread one of my favorites. This was one of for the prompts for Spring to Readathon, which is to read a book with a strong female character, and I've read this within a day, of course, because it's very short, and I still love the book overall. I love the characters, and I really love Neverland and The Lost Boys and all the other characters, and I give this book, of course, 5 out of 5 stars. The next book that I've read in March is Splinter by G. Howard, which is an Alice in Wonderland retelling that tells a story about Alice Little's descendant Alyssa, and then she ends up going to Wonderland herself. I honestly was disappointed with this book. I know many people have loved this, and from my perspective, I really found it interesting about how she's learning about her family history and other things I forgot. And then learning about like Wonderland and Alice Little and all that, but I just did not feel connected to the characters, and I honestly was confusing the whole time, and I was like, what the heck's going on? Are they in the real world or are they in Wonderland? I probably missed some of the parts that she was in Wonderland, but I just was still disappointed with this one, and sadly I'm not going to continue on with this series, and I give this book 3 out of 5 stars. The next book that I've read in March is The Gweneveres Deception by Kirsten White. This is a King Arthur retelling that tells a story about Guinevere and she's a changeling in this one, and that's all I want to give you on the synopsis. And I really like this book. I love the characters, and I found the magic system a little confusing, but I still love the world and find out more about Guinevere and Camelot and all that, and I definitely want to continue on with the series just because I love the characters so much. I'm here for the characters, and yeah, and I'm surprised on how much I've read this in a couple of days, because I read this for Becca's 40-hour book-up-a-thon, and yeah, and I give this book 4 out of 5 stars. The next book that I've read in March is My Calamity Jane by Cynthia Han, Jody Meadows, and Brody Ashton. I really enjoy this one. This is a retelling about Calamity Jane, and this is a Western book that involves with werewolves. I honestly found it interesting, but I honestly didn't like it as much as the other two, just because like I found the characters really interesting. I'm just not much into Western in general. I honestly could watch a couple of them here and there, and reading about it was just a new experience for me. But I really like Calamity. I like reading about Calamity Jane, Annie Oakley, which I love that character so much, and Frank was a decent guy to me, and but I can't wait to read their next book, which is about one of the Marys, which I found interesting, and I hope they continue on telling a story about different Janes, because I honestly want to see more in the future, hopefully. But yeah, I still enjoy this book overall, and I've listened to this on audiobook, and I give this book 4 out of 5 stars. The next book that I've read in March is The Bromance Book Club by Lisa A. Adams. This is about a man who is in a baseball team whose wife was filing him for a divorce, and he doesn't want to get a divorce, and he wants a second chance at love, and his teammates have told him about the Bromance Book Club, and then he has to read them to find out learn how to make his wife fall in love with him again. And oh boy, I love this book so much. I didn't expect to read this very quickly like I did. Again, this is one of the books that I've read for 48 hours Becca's Book-Up-a-thon, and I honestly can't wait to read the other books, because it tells they're companion novels to the Bromance Book Club, but I still want to read about more of the characters. Boy, his teammates make me laugh so much, and I'm like, oh gosh, I can't help but laugh. They're so funny, especially when they're trying to tell, when Gavin didn't believe them at first, and they were like, oh, it works, trust us. And I'm like, oh, I love the characters so much, and I just can't wait to read more of these, and I just can't wait to read more of the books in the series just because they're so dang funny, and I give this book 5 out of 5 stars, obviously. The next book that I've read in March is These Violent Delights by Chloe Gunn, which is a Romeo and Juliet retelling that takes place in Shanghai in the 1920s, and oh my gosh, I love this book so much. I honestly really love, I could tell some of the characters are Romeo or Juliet or any of the other characters from Romeo and Juliet, and I really like the setting of it, just because it's different from Verona, Italy, and I just really like how Chloe Gunn create her own vision of Romeo and Juliet, especially in the timeline in a different country, and I just really love it so much. I really also love the mystery aspects to it because they're trying to figure out what happened in Shanghai and who it's like a murder mystery kind of thing, and I really love that in the story, other than basically just Romeo and Juliet, and I also love the characters. I just could not help but smile just because I could tell which one is Romeo and which one's Juliet, even though in the synopsis they tell you their names. But I love this book so much, and I think this is also becoming one of my favorite books of the year so far, and I think everybody should read These Violent Delights if you're not into Shakespeare but you want to give Shakespeare a try. I would say try to read a retelling of Romeo and Juliet before actually reading the actual play, and it kind of makes me want to reread the play itself because I haven't read it since high school, but still, and overall, I give this book 5 out of 5 stars. And the last book that I've read in March is The Invisible Life of Eddie LaRue by V. Schwab, and this is about a girl who makes a deal with a devil kind of character, and to just live her life the way she wants it, but everybody she meets will forget about her, and then 300 years later she meets this boy, and then he ends up remembering her, and that's basically the synopsis. And oh my gosh, I honestly did not expect this book to be fast-paced because I'm like, what the heck just happened? I want to know what happens next. And I almost cried at the end. I don't usually cry after I read a book, but this book, oh my gosh, it crushed my heart, and I was like, what? And I just did not expect to love it as much as I'm not sure if I've heard mixed reviews about it, but I'm one of those people that I think this is my favorite V. Schwab book so far, because I've read A Darker Shade of Magic by her. I haven't finished that series yet, but I want to continue, and then Sea of Ghosts, which is definitely one of my favorites from her, and this book crushed my heart. Oh my gosh, I just cannot believe how this is definitely one of my favorite books of the year. I know it's a sad book, but it's like there's moments that there's happy moments, but I know that, oh gosh, the ending almost made me cry. I didn't expect to love it as much as other books, and of course I give this book 5 stars. So that's all of my February and March wrap-up. If you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up and comment down below what you've read the last 2 months. And if you haven't already, click the subscribe button and click the bell icon so you'll be notified whenever I post new videos. Also, you can follow me on social media like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Goodreads, which all links will be down below for you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!